guys, and welcome to another episode of One Pod Life. In this episode, I speak to OJ Farrell, who from the age of 7 set out to become a professional golfer and has achieved his dream and more. After going to university in America and setback from the COVID pandemic, OJ has gone on to climb the ranks of pro golf this year, resulting in the category on the DP World Tour. Now, we talk through his year, his near miss on the DP World Tour Q School, where he actually missed a full card by 2 shots, and OJ also gives us his 3 great tips for any aspiring golfer should they be looking to achieve the same dream. So enjoy this episode, guys, and look forward to hearing your thoughts. And if you do listen to it on the One Pod Life podcast on a regular basis, please go down into the show notes and click the link to the questionnaire that I have in there. You guys really help me out with the content going forward. Hey OJ, and welcome to the One Pod Life podcast. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me on.
It's all right. I think we've gladly finally got the date in the diary to get this done. It's been a while. Been trying to get this done for a while, but obviously you've been too busy achieving on the golf course.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to finally be able to come on and talk to you.
Good stuff. Okay, what I want to start with is your name, OJ.
Yeah.
Is that your real name?
No, my first name's Oliver. My middle name's James.
Right. Okay.
But my dad, since I was born, just kind of always called me OJ. And then I kind of knew when I was young that when I turned pro, I think I would use the name OJ instead of Oliver.
Yep.
And then I went to college in the States and I sort of introduced myself as OJ, and it really caught on. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to use that now as my professional when I turn pro.
Yeah, sounds good. It's a good name. I like it. Well done. Okay. I thought it would be as simple as that, but I thought I needed to find out. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of Oliver James, now OJ. When and how did you first pick up a golf club?
I was very young. My dad played golf, obviously before I was born, and then obviously while I was growing up. But I picked up. I started probably hitting balls when I was 3.
Okay.
In the back garden. I think my dad had a club cut down. We used to have a long garden. I don't know how long it actually was. It seemed long when you're like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But I could just swing and hit balls all the way down the garden, and there's a field to the left of us, so I could actually hit proper golf balls, and I would either lose them in the field left or hit them down the garden.
Nice. So I'm guessing your dad saw potential at 3 years old and probably cultivated that a little bit. To get you there, or was he quite?
No, not so much. I think it was more, we just used to go and play when I got a little bit older, we'd go and play on a Sunday, pitch and putt, and then 9-hole golf course, and I just really fell in love with it, and then got into it from there. It wasn't really a thing he sort of pushed on me as such. It was something we did together, and then I love doing it from there.
No, I like that, because I think a lot of parents at that age, seeing a 3-year-old do that, or even a 5-year-old, probably start thinking, well, hold on a second, I need to push him into golf. But no, I'm glad that your dad didn't do that. It's good. Yeah. So, okay, so moving forward a little bit, I'd always like to know where people started. I started quite late. I only started, 5 years ago? So 30, where old was I? 34, 35? It's a bit late to start playing golf, but hey-ho. Let's get there. But, sorry?
Never too late to start.
Exactly. So how did the sort of progression then go from like playing with your dad on a Sunday or the weekends and stuff to then knowing that golf was kind of where you wanted to go down?
Yeah, I knew pretty early. I knew at 7 that I wanted to do it professionally. I think it was just, I'm a very competitive person. I played everything as a kid, every sport. I think just the challenge of golf was what attracted me to it more than anything else. Because, you can play great, but there's always one shot out there, or I could have made that putt and it could have been better. So I think that was the thing that really appealed. It still does now, but as a kid, I think it was the thing that stood out the most, was that no matter how good it was, it could have always been a little better. And so I think that's what I enjoyed the most about it. Okay,
and then at the age of 7, were you watching golf as well on TV and stuff like that, or was it? And who was you sort of admiring back then?
Yeah, the first tournament I can remember watching on TV was the 2004 Masters.
Okay.
And then I kind of got into it from there. Tiger was obviously the biggest influence as a kid. I absolutely loved Tiger and tried to copy everything he did as a little kid. But then obviously, like Luke Donald was a big Luke Donald fan, and Adam Scott and Ernie Els. Around that time were sort of the guys I looked up to the most.
Okay.
And then obviously when Rory kind of came on tour, I was still pretty young at that point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Tiger was I think as most people my age, kind of was the guy who everyone looked up to.
No, yeah, definitely. Again, because I started a little bit later, Tiger's not really one that I looked up to, if I'm honest. But obviously I appreciate everything and understand what he's done for the game, which is great. So 7 years old, you knew then you wanted to be a professional golfer. So what route did you go down then, leading up to like your teens and everything to get into golf?
I think I started playing like competitive club golf, like at my club or in junior opens when I was about 6.
Okay.
Going on 7. I won my first few events I played in. And I think obviously that kind of helps when you do that, it gets you going. And then, so until I was to about 10, it was kind of just club golf, local, like county golf. And then didn't really start playing national stuff until I turned about 12. And then from there, it was just obviously, kind of a progression. I mean, I started working with my coach that I still work with today when I was 11 years old. So 15 years now. And we kind of developed the thing was like, look, we're going to build the golf swing so that when I get to 18 years old, when I kind of not fully developed, but more than fully developed kind of growth-wise, that we don't have to do much work with it once I sort of get into those older years. And I think that was kind of the thing we did through junior golf more than anything, through my teens. So I didn't get the results necessarily I wanted to when I was a junior because I was...
Were you building those foundations? Yeah,
building the foundations for obviously the later part, which obviously is more important. You can have a great amateur career and it'd be good to look back on, but if you can be a more successful pro, then that's more important, and that's kind of the way we looked at it.
No, definitely. I think that's a good approach because again, looking at how people progress through the game, they have a really, really good amateur career, and then no fault of their own kind of die off a little bit when it comes to pro golf because they focus so much on that. So I think having that approach, like you said, building yourself up to be your 18s, be ready to go pro golf and be built and ready to go is the best thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So I'm astounded that you're still working with your coaches. You're 15 years as well. Not many people have that relationship, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome.
No, great stuff. So fast forward to 2015.
Yep.
I believe. And you mentioned it earlier at the beginning that you went off to the US to university. You went to, is it Marquette University in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
What was your decision to go to America?
So I actually knew, I can't remember exactly how, but when I was 11, 12, I think it was something on TV about obviously how most of the American tour pros obviously went to college and how good the college system was. And so I kind of got it in my mind. I was like, okay, when I'm old enough, I'm going to go play college golf because you see all the tour pros on TV, like they all played. So I kind of had it dead set in my mind from when I was like 12, like, okay, that's what I want to do when I'm obviously old enough to. Yep. So that's where it started. And then obviously, it just went from there. Obviously, when I got the opportunity to speak to different schools and stuff, it was just about finding the right coach. It wasn't so much about finding, obviously, you want to go to a good school, but it was like finding the coach that's going to help to take me from where I am to where I need to be at the end of the 4 year.
Yeah.
4 years I'm there. And I couldn't have ended up in a better place with a better coach and a better group of people.
When you was making that decision, did your coach, obviously in the UK, did he or she, I could be wrong, did they help you make that decision as well, knowing that the program that you've been working on and where you want to go with them, to then go, right, this is the right person to go work with in America? Yeah,
that was everyone around me was involved. My mum, my dad, my coach, all had a say in obviously what I needed and how I needed to go about it to make sure it suited me best.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then, like you said, Marquette was the one that you chose.
Yeah.
And while you're there, like you said, you were there for the full 4 years, which is great as well. You kind of walked away with quite a few accolades and accomplishments from there, from what I can see.
Yeah.
First of all, can you just explain to me what Big East stands for?
So that's the conference. So many schools are in a conference because obviously you think about how big America is and how many universities there are, there's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and other ones. Obviously, we're Division 1, but I think there's something like 300 and something schools in that Division 1. So you couldn't have 300 schools playing against each other at the end of the year. So there's conferences. So it's the same for everyone's. Like, we were in the Big East Conference, which I think had 12 schools in it, I want to say.
Yep.
So you won't necessarily compete against them throughout the season. You'll go and play in different competitions with obviously different schools all over the state, all over the country. But at the end of the year, there's a conference championship where obviously everyone comes together and plays against each other, and you have a conference champion. So that's kind of what the Big East is. So there's loads of different conferences.
Yeah, no, good stuff. That makes more sense now. As I was looking at going, what is Big East?
Yeah.
But from that, you actually got quite a few Male Golfer of the Weeks, Male Golfer of the Month awards.
Yeah.
And I guess it all came together in the last year. Again, you won quite a few tournaments on there, but the one thing that stood out the most was you were named the Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And what I guess what I'm asking there is, what accomplishments did you have to make to become Player of the Year?
I had a really good year my last year. I think we played 11 or 12 events. I think it might have been 12 events. I think I had 8 top 10s, 3 top 15s, and then I finished outside the top 15 twice, I think, that year, or something like that.
Yep.
So it was just a lot of consistent golf. I I had a chance to win. Of the 8 top 10s, I think I had a chance to win all 8 of those events. I had a good chance to go into the last round. So I think it was just it takes a lot of consistency really to do that. And not just have a couple of good weeks. You've got to be good all year round.
Good stuff. So out of the 12 colleges or universities part of your Big East, you were the best player out of those 12?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. If out of those 4 years that you were there, I've spoken to a few guys now that have gone to America and said it's the best thing they've ever done. And I'm imagining it's the same for you, obviously, with what you got out of it as well. Like I said, being named the Big East Player of the Year as well in the last year. What would be your one big takeaway from going to university?
From the golfer side?
From golf and life.
I think golf, if you really want to, if you're not ready at 18 years old to turn pro and, jump on the tour, I think that is the best way to know if you're ready, because the competition out there is awesome. You're playing against, how many other different guys throughout the year who are, some of them are 3-4 years older than you, maybe in their last year, about to go on the tour, and some of them are, you're in your first year out there, and I think you really learn quickly whether you're good enough, maybe in your first year, and it's okay, well, am I prepared to put in the work to get better? And I think, if with the 4 years, is you can, by the time you get to your 4th year, if you're, knocking on the door, then I think you're ready. Yeah. I think that's the great thing with college golf, is because you can play, stay over here and play amateur tournaments and stuff, but how many of those guys are going to turn pro? So if you're competing, is it really, how strong is that competition as such? Whereas I'd say almost everyone in college golf is trying to turn pro, so you're competing against everyone for the same thing almost.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing, was that obviously, it was a great way of showing, can I compete? Can I do this? Yes or no? And then, what do I need to do to get in that position? So I think that was the big thing.
Okay, good.
I think from life, it's just an amazing experience to go live in a different country and meet different people, and to be able to do that is incredible, I think.
Yeah.
Even if, I definitely want to go back to America and live there, but even if you didn't want to do that, to say you kind of did that for 4 years is amazing. And the people you meet, they're amazing too. The people over there are great. I was really lucky. I kind of made a family over there really with everyone I got to know, and I think that was really cool. Not everyone gets that, obviously, experience, but you never know unless you try it. So,
no, definitely. No, I like it. And again, some of the guys I've spoken to have done that, have said pretty much the same sort of thing. And I think one guy, I don't know if you know David Wicks. No. He's a pro golfer, plays over here in Clutch, but he actually now lives in America, and he's just gone back to America for a few months to obviously get some warmer climate as well, which also helps. But he's same thing. He went out there for 4 years, built a life out there, and now that's where he's based, which is great. So I look forward to seeing you move over to America, maybe.
Yeah.
Once you get on that PGA tour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you come back. So one thing I wanted to ask as well. So 2019, you graduated. You
Yeah.
Player of the Year. Was there a temptation to stay, or did you always want to come back to the UK and try and play mini tours and then get on to like Challenge Tour and DP?
No, the plan was to stay there. So I went. I stayed amateur obviously through the summer.
Yep.
And then I did Corn Ferry Q School instead of doing the DP World Tour Q School that year. And I just missed out getting to final stage. So I got to second stage.
Okay.
And then I did Canadian Q School in March, which was the week before COVID happened.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I actually got some stats on the Canadian tour. Wouldn't have got a ton of starts, but obviously the plan was to go that route.
Yep.
Was planning on coming home anyway, came home, and then literally within like 4 days, 4 days, the country just obviously everywhere just went into lockdown.
Okay.
So I was at that point, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do as such. I mean, obviously that, when I didn't get a full card on Canadian tour, I was like, okay, I'll do Euro Pro maybe because they had Q School coming up. So I was like, I think, depending on how many starts I get, I'll maybe do the 2.
Yep.
But obviously, COVID happened. And then it was like, okay, the United States had their borders closed for a long time. So I was like, I'd only literally turned pro at the beginning of 2020. So I'd played Q School and Canadian School, which was my only sort of pro event, but wasn't really an event as such. So I was just ready to sort of get going. And then obviously the Clutch Tour kind of started that year. Yep. And then I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to play in this year. And then we'll go from there. And pretty well.
So and unfortunately, Europro's now gone, so your options are even smaller now. But obviously, we'll go on to that in a bit because obviously we can talk about other opportunities you've got going into next season. But well, that's a shame that obviously that happened. Obviously, because if you're setting yourself up nicely over in America and Canada, that's a shame that happened, man. I'm gutted for you. But I
think it worked out for the best, to be honest with you, because I think. He played on the Challenge Tour this year, played some invites last year, and said, I love playing on that tour. It's great. You get to travel all over Europe, which is really cool. And I'm actually, I think in a way it was good that it worked out that way.
Now, One Pod Life is brought to you in partnership with Energy Golf, the leading golf development platform. They are committed to providing a service that allows you to reach your maximum potential by improving your mindset, creating physical longevity, and funding your golf career. What they've done is take professional tour team experience and brought it to you through their platform so you can have your very own tour team in your pocket. Energy Golf offers the ability to learn from leading professionals in the fields of fitness, nutrition, breathing, caddying, psychology, business, as well as proven tour winners and many more. There are also courses based around the mental aspects of golf, such as mental toughness, emotional control, and self-esteem. Visit energy.com to learn more, and to claim your exclusive 1 month free trial, simply send an email with the subject OnePodLife to info@energy.com and enjoy. Now let's get back to the podcast. Well, it worked out, like I said, on the Clutch Pro Tour, you've won twice on that, which is great. And would that have been the first win on Clutch? Would that have been your first professional win?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was technically my first professional event too.
Okay.
Yeah, I won that.
So you won your first ever professional event.
Yeah, I got off to a good start.
Yeah, what was that feeling like to get that under your belt?
It was really nice because I think there was always, it was like, I guess it was nice to win your first one. It kind of takes that, okay, winning as a professional kind of. There was no sort of like you're having to wait for it type of thing. It was like, okay, it's done now. It's like take that one off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very satisfying feeling.
No, I bet it was almost like a validation of you turning pro, and knowing that, like you said, you've been knocking on the door over at university, you come back to the UK, and then bang, you've won your first ever pro tournament.
Yeah.
Like I said, it gives you that validation. How quickly then was the second win from the first?
So I've had 4 wins as a pro. I actually finished second like 2 weeks after that in a Clutch event.
Okay.
I then won a different mini tour event, probably 3 months, 3 months after that.
Okay.
So yeah, that I won twice in the 2020.
Nice.
Had a lot of decent results on the Clutch that year, and then my third win came on the Clutch beginning of 2021 in April. I'll say beginning April time, which I guess is kind of beginning of the golf season in this country.
Yep.
And then obviously got another one at the beginning of this year too. So
nice.
Before the season kicked off, yeah. So
it's not been a bad 2 years, even through one of those years being part COVID, which is pretty good. So no, well done.
Yeah.
And I guess all of that gave you a nice base then for this season, where you've done quite. Obviously, like I said, I think it's been a great year for you, considering where you finished on the Road to Mallorca on Challenge Tour. I know it was 90th, but it was out of 254 players, so definitely in the top half of that, which obviously has given you, like you said, you've played all over Europe with the Challenge Tour, and then obviously you then moved on to you just missed out on going to the final stage of Challenge Tour, unfortunately, but then you went off to DP World Tour Q School, getting all the way through to the final stage. And I just wanted to touch on that and see what your thoughts are. It's obviously a 6-round tournament, which is crazy and obviously hard work, but you did really well there, unfortunately missing out by 2 shots. And I was just wondering, what were your thoughts and feelings around that, even though you played really well, but just literally, like I said, if you had shot 2 more shots, you would have got one of the last cards to get a full DP World Tour card. So yeah, how do you feel? What was your thoughts on that week?
I mean, it was a great, I think the end of the season was really good. I think the game felt there all year, and I just mentally wasn't. I think I was getting a little bit too panicky at times because I wasn't quite getting the results, and I think I overreacted to that. And I think towards the end of the year, I kind of got myself in the place I needed to be. Had a good chance at St Melian, great chance at Fulford Heath, and I was feeling really good. Went into second stage, obviously played great, went really low. And then, went into final stage, obviously feeling good. But like you say, 6 rounds is a lot of tournament golf. I've played, you play 6 rounds of golf in a row easily and you don't think of anything. But I think it was really strange because you played the 4th round and you're like, oh, I've got 2 more to go. And so it was, that was kind of the weirdest. Like once you got to the next day, it was like, this is another tournament day. Yep. We kind of like, my caddy was like, oh, this is kind of strange. We've finished 4 rounds and it's like, it's not a Sunday because it was Monday and it's like, we're going to do 2 more. I think that was, it was fun playing 6 rounds, but mentally very,
I was going to say it must be a big mindset shift. Like you said, you played the 4 rounds. That's normally that's normally a tournament.
Yeah, and
then you got almost, I don't know. Would you? I'm just guessing here, but would it be like it's a reset and go right? I've now got to play a 2-day tournament, but you just played four rounds, so you got to kind of forget that and then go again.
Yeah, it was more just 1 round. It was just, because it's 6 rounds. Obviously, it's literally, people say golf's a marathon, not a sprint, but that literally is a marathon because I didn't play badly. I played the secondary course the first day. Didn't play very badly, but had a poor finish. And I think I was 112th or something after that round.
Yep.
Maybe, something around there. But it's like you still got 5 rounds of golf to go. So, like, although, if that was a 2-round tournament, you'd be like, oh, okay, I've got to do something tomorrow to make this happen. But it's like I've got 3 more rounds before the cut, which, and then, played really good every sort of round from there. And, I didn't feel... I think obviously missing out by 2 at the end, I kind of like... I think if you get your card, you're probably not even feeling anything. You'd be so happy and so elated after doing that I think you wouldn't really... But I think afterwards I was like, okay, I felt good mentally, I felt good physically. Obviously, I was pretty upset and pretty devastated, but I was really happy with how I handled everything mentally. I kind of knew that, that last round, okay, played great tee to green, putts didn't drop, but I knew that everything I needed to do from a mental standpoint, I did.
Yep.
I think that kind of said, okay, I'm actually ready for the main tour now, I think.
Yep.
And I think that's stuff I learned throughout the season because I think I kind of panicked a little bit because I wasn't playing how I wanted to, I wasn't getting the results. Mm-hmm. That affected my performance, whereas I was able to learn from that pretty quickly, I guess, and it turned the end of the season around for me, and it was just one of those rounds where literally nothing dropped. I gave myself all the opportunities in the world, and I hit the shots I needed to hit when I needed to hit them. So it was just a matter of, I guess being patient and learning from it.
No, good stuff. So because you finished just outside of the main cards for the tour, what type of, this is always what baffles me, even though I work in golf, I still don't get my head around it. What playing rights do you actually get for next season?
So I got a better category on the Challenge Tour than I would have had, which is obviously great because, I think, in 2021, I won some invites from Clutch for Challenge Tour. So I had 7 invites for the year.
Yep.
Turned that into a category. Played on that category this year, which got me into a lot of events. But I think that was the difficult thing is I didn't know which events I was going to play as such.
Yep.
So I might find out on the Monday or the Sunday or the Monday before that I'm in.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of a rush, whereas now, and I kind of would have had the similar situation next year had I not done so well at final stage.
Yep.
So now I've got basically a full category or a full card. So I can literally plan everything, which will be a big help. But I also got category 20 on the DP World Tour.
Okay, that's what I was going to get to.
So I'm first reserve for Mauritius next week.
Nice.
So but so I should hopefully get several starts on the DP World Tour next year, and just got to take advantage of them and play well when I get them.
No, definitely. No, sounds good. So, because I was going to ask, obviously, the full card now on Challenge Tour, you can actually, you're in control now, so you can plan when you want to play, not the other way around. But
yeah, exactly.
But then, unfortunately, you've now got the fate, the like you said on DP World. OJ, get yourself to this now because you're in. Then you got to sort of drop everything and go. But I guess the rewards outweigh the worries of that one, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, a lot of it will come down to scheduling with the Challenge Tour and how I'm doing on there. And, at some point, I'm going to have to, unless I get off to a really quick start, probably going to have to prioritize that. So if I get in the DP World Tour event, I might have to miss it.
Yep.
But we'll worry about that when we get there.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
No, well done. Okay, cool. We've got a couple more quick questions at the end, and then we'll move on to the OJ's advice for amateurs. So I noticed that you possibly still hold the course record at Evesham.
Yeah, Evesham, yeah.
With a 58. What's the par there?
72.
72.
That was the actual. I had the course record of 65, like in a competition.
Okay.
But yeah, that was during COVID year.
Oh, okay.
I kept shooting because obviously I turned pro at this point, so I couldn't play any club competitions there.
Yep.
That's where I grew up playing. And I kept shooting 63, 62, 62, 62, 61. And I was like, I'm going to break 60 at some point. And then, I finally shot 58. But yeah, no, that was a fun round of golf.
You tempted to go back and try and beat it?
I haven't been back there. I'm now at Worcester Golf and Country Club, so I haven't been back there in a few years.
Okay.
So no, maybe I need to try and shoot 59, 58 somewhere else.
Oh yeah. Okay. We'll set you some targets for a couple of other courses then.
Yeah.
We'll do a bit of research. I actually had this question written down as I'm going to say it, but obviously you mentioned that Tiger was your sort of inspiration when you were a kid. So, if you could ask, so let's imagine you're meeting Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You could ask him one question that would enhance your game. What would it be?
Well, that's a tough question. I think it'd have to be something to do with his mindset, I think. Maybe something along the lines of how did you, what was your mindset going into a round of golf, or how did you prepare your mind going into a tournament? Because I think that was the thing that, separated him from everybody else, was obviously how good he was mentally.
Yep.
Maybe he can't answer that in a question, but there's definitely something he was doing that was different to some other people.
Yeah, 100%.
Because what he was doing was pretty good. So,
especially from ball to ball. What was the thought process?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just walking down the fairways and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good. I like that. Okay, cool. So, OJ, thanks for giving us your sort of breakdown on your career, and obviously talking about your year this so far. Obviously, the season's now kind of come to an end, and you're waiting for the schedules to come out for next year for Challenge Tour, but like you said, you might be off to Mauritius next week. I'm pretty sure someone's going to pull out, so you'll be going. So get that bag packed. If I can just move on to the next section, which is the reason why I started the podcast was obviously for myself. I'm trying to get down to a level where I can play pro golf. Probably not the level that you're getting to, but I want to try and get on the mini tours. And I just wanted to get into the mindset of a pro golfer and work out what it is top amateurs need to do to be able to get to that level.
Yeah.
So if you could give me 3 top tips to what you think every elite amateur should be doing, and then go into a little bit more detail into what they should be doing with each of those topics, that'd be great.
I think the first one is get the ball pin high. Okay. I think, if you've got 150 yards and you hit it 150 yards, even if you hit it left or right, you're probably going to be closer than if you hit it 145 yards straight at the pin.
Yep.
Provided you're, not hitting it way, way off the target. But if you're a decent golfer, you will be better off being pin high. Because I think a lot of, when I do get a chance to play with people who aren't obviously, friends or whatnot, a lot of people try and hit a club to go further and they can actually hit it. They're like, oh yeah, I can hit 150 yards, and they might only hit it 140. So they're playing for that like one shot that they flush. And I think it's more about what do you hit it when you hit it average, not great. So I think that would be the big thing, getting it pin high.
Okay. And when would you, and when you're playing your round, would that be what you do? So if it was say 150 yards, and let's obviously, if you could hit your, I'm going to pick a wedge. I'm going to say you hit your pitching wedge about 150. So would you then possibly go a 9 just to make sure you get that 150, or would you would you just trust your pitching wedge to go the distance? Obviously, depending on conditions. Obviously.
Yeah, it's conditions depending, and I guess sometimes it's where's the pin. Like if the pin was at the very back edge, being a little short wouldn't hurt there. Mm-hmm. But my pitching wedge goes 148, so I'd hit the full pitching wedge.
Yep.
But if the pin's at the front, then I'm probably more likely to hit maybe a little chippy 9 because obviously I'm getting it past it. And but yeah, generally you want to depends, but you want to try and get it to the club that's close to it. I mean, if you would, if your whatever goes 148 and you got 150, that's the club to hit really, because unless you're good at taking speed off shots and hitting distances that you can't, then you probably shouldn't try that unless you practiced it. But I'd say get the club that's closest to it, and if you can get it past it, then I'd go past.
It's not a bad guess. I said 150 for your pitching wedge, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. What would be your second tip?
I think practice short game.
Okay.
Because, you need it. It doesn't matter what golf course you go to, you're going to need your short game. And on days when you're not hitting it good, that's what's going to save you. Because I think I saw something crazy this year on like PJ Tour put something out on like Instagram or something. It was like there's a hole in one more often than there is someone hitting 18 greens in a round.
All right. Wow. Okay. I'm
pretty sure that's what it said. And I thought, so that shows you like if best players in the world aren't hitting 18 greens around, which I think they average, this year I averaged just under 13.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, you're going to have 5, but you're going to get up and down 5 times around. For someone who's an amateur, they're probably going to be hitting, let's say 10.
Yep.
You're going to get up and down a lot, and that's where you're going to lower your scores. And I think if you can get really good within 20 yards of the pin, that's how you're going to lower your scores.
Yep.
Pretty quickly.
Makes sense. I think my average is 8, so I've got some work to do on that one.
Yeah, you got 10. That's what I mean. You got 10. If you suddenly get those, you can get up and down at 6 out of those 10.
Mm-hmm.
You make a couple of birdies, you're going to be close to par.
Yep, no, sounds good. Okay, and then what would be the final tip that you'd say everyone needs to be doing? I don't get too technical on the golf course with the swing, because I guess if you're a competitive amateur, you are practicing. But for amateurs who are good, who don't have the time in the week, like they might go and have a swing lesson, and then they don't practice a week, and then they go to the golf course in like a medal, and they'll try and work on what they've been told, and it's like, well, you can't do that because no one really can do that. They can't just have one lesson and be like, oh, okay, it's good now. So I think, work on the technique, but when it's time to go and play, literally just look at the target and hit the ball and
try and just be athletic. Really, you won't see what you watch the World Cup. You don't see those players going, oh, they don't have time to think, oh, what's my technique here? It's like you've got to pass it or shoot, or and in golf, obviously, because you have so much time, people love to think about it, whereas they'd be better off just looking and going.
No, good stuff. I think that's a good one, actually. Yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap before, but not so much these days because I managed to get some decent practice in during the week. So but I've definitely taken that mindset more onto the golf course, which is definitely helping. So no, good one. Well, thank you, OJ. Thanks for coming on and giving us, like I said, your insight into you, plans for next year, and then your tips just there were fantastic. So thank you, and
thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and good luck in Mauritius next week because you'll be there.
Yeah,
and hopefully you have a good season and see you on DP World a few times.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic.